Salvete omnes! My name is Darius, and this is the world that was. Today, I'll be making another Roman recipe. Once again from Apicius, a writer and gourmet from the 1st century AD. This recipe is very similar to modern French toast. The original recipe, as recorded by Apicius, is pretty short and not very descriptive, so I'm reconstructing this in a slightly different way than what was described. The bread I use has a very soft crust, so I didn't remove it, and I also wound up leaving the slices whole rather than breaking them up into small pieces. In any case, let's now take a look at the world that was. To begin with, we need some bread. You can of course use any kind of bread you want, but it's likely that this dish would have been eaten by at least somewhat richer Romans, who would have been able to afford the ingredients for such a luxurious dish like this. I actually made some simple Roman bread last week, so you can check that out if you want to know how I made this loaf. In any case, slice your loaf of bread into slices if it hasn't been sliced already, each slice about as thick as your finger. We don't want these too thin because they'll disintegrate in the egg dredge that we're going to make shortly, but we also don't want them too thick or your toast won't really cook well. Now we need to make our egg dredge. Start making this by pouring your milk into a bowl, or a tub that's big enough to fit your slices of bread. Then crack your eggs into the milk and whisk it all together until it's cohesive. Roman chefs may have used dove or other wildfowl eggs, but chickens were also common in the kitchens of Rome, so you can use chicken eggs like I'm using here. Depending on what alternative to chicken eggs you use, however, you may need to add more eggs than I have. For example, 4 quail eggs are about the same volume as 1 chicken egg, so adjust this if you're using an alternative. Next, place your slices of bread into the dredge and leave them be for about 30 seconds. Don't leave them too long because we really only want the exterior of the bread to be coated in our egg mix. When one side has finished soaking, flip it over and coat the other side, again for about 30 seconds. When your bread's been coated, go pour a good amount of olive oil into a frying pan and let it heat up. When the oil starts to shimmer, place 1 or 2 of your coated slices into the pan and let that side cook for about 2 minutes. Or whenever you peek underneath it, you can start to see the underside turn a deep golden brown. When that side is cooked, go flip it over and let the other side cook for the same amount of time. Drizzle some honey over the top of them before you serve them up. And if you want to imagine that you're an extraordinarily rich Roman, you can sprinkle some ground cinnamon over the tops of these before eating. The finished toast is very rich in filling, and frying it in olive oil really adds a nice savoury flavour profile to it. While it's likely to have been eaten by at least somewhat affluent Romans, it doesn't seem to have been exclusively reserved for them, unlike some other recipes, given how relatively simple this is to make with fairly easy to come across ingredients. Essentially just flour, water, eggs, and honey. As you can imagine, it's quite decadent in filling, so you shouldn't really have this daily, although it does taste good enough that you might want to have it every morning. I hope you all enjoyed this look at the world that was. If you liked what you saw, please consider leaving a like on this video and subscribing to my channel for some more ancient recipes.